Hi, we're at in Radway, outside this church, which has a display to do with the battle at Edgehill. So we're near Edgehill, reading from this Layman's to the English Constitution. We're at the part about the Stuarts. We had just talked about the Tudors, on the whole ruling according to prerogatives given to them by law. I think the Tudors were from Wales, weren't they, originally, or something? Anyway, we're on the Stuarts, and that is why we're at Edgehill. Well, Radway. Okay. The Stuarts, on the other hand, believed they ruled by divine right and were answerable only to God. As a result, 2 out of the 4 Stuarts lost their crown. Charles I lost his crown and his head. Then James II was forced to flee the country to safety. So then we are talking about the Petition of Rights. Should we go and have a look inside because it's starting to rain? It's quite dark in here. It's quite interesting though. The Petition of Rights, 1628. In 1628, Charles was presented with the Petition of Rights, a restatement of Alfred's law. And as we go in the church, may I remind us, this whole time it's been talking about Alfred's law was also God's law, or Christianity was based on originally. So, here we go. We've got some interesting dummies. The Roundheads and the Cavaliers. So in 1628, Charles I was presented with the Petition of Rights, a restatement of Alfred's law. Another one of our constitutional documents you'd be interested to look at. The Grand Remonstrance, 1641, is that how you say it? Later, in 1641, the Great Grand Remonstrance was requested by Parliament for Charles to rule according to the law. Yet another restatement of Alfred's law, but Charles refused. He was then put on trial for treason against the people, found guilty and executed. Well, that must have been after some battles. After the Restoration, King Charles II was put on trial for treason. All those who had signed his father's death warrant. They were tried and executed. Even Oliver Cromwell, who was already dead, was dug up and hanged. In 1661, the House of Commons told the Upper House they could not start or amend a money bill. That role was the Commons. There is nothing in our Constitution to support this argument. This was the beginning of the restriction of the authority of the House of Lords. James II was told by Parliament that by attempting to Catholicise the country, he was acting illegally. James retaliated, dissolved Parliament and carried on as before until he was forced to flee to France. And that brings us to the Declaration of Rights. Prince William of Orange was asked by the now out-of-work politicians if he would like the crown, as his wife Mary was next in line to the throne. William and Mary would rule as joint sovereigns because Mary said she would not be over her husband, and William said he would not be a servant of his wife. William landed at Torbay with an army much smaller than that commanded by King James II. When James saw his army deserting in droves, he sent his wife and son to France and followed them a short while later. William was asked to take on the administration of the country. However, William despised the English and replaced a number of our senior military and civil servants with Dutchmen. The politicians, thinking they'd just got rid of one bad king and it looked like they were about to get another, went and spoke to the aldermen and 50 of the Common Council of the City of London. William, hearing of this, issued instructions for writs to be sent to every borough in England. Should we go out and do this? The boroughs were to send representatives to Westminster to tell the politicians and William how we, the English, wished to be ruled